Today on Sugar Spun Run, I'm showing you how to make an easy homemade salted caramel sauce. Hey Sugar Spun Bakers, Sam here, and today I have a super easy recipe for caramel sauce. There's no candy thermometer required. I think you're going to love it. It's perfect for enjoying over ice cream or just eating by the spoonful. I don't judge either way. Now, today's whole recipe is made over on the stovetop, so let's go ahead and head over there with a medium-sized saucepan. Now in this saucepan, we are going to combine 1 cup of firmly packed light brown sugar, 8 tablespoons of unsalted butter, and I like to break the butter into about 8 pieces just to make it so that everything melts together a little bit better than it would if I just left the whole stick in there. I opt to use unsalted butter because we're going to be adding the salt a little bit later on, and doing it this way helps us control the flavor of the caramel sauce a lot better than we'd be able to if we used salted butter, which has nobody knows exactly how much salt in it. Next, you will need 1/2 cup of heavy cream and 2 tablespoons of light corn syrup. Now, I know some people don't like to use corn syrup because they think it's the same as high fructose corn syrup. It is not, and it's really necessary for today's recipe so that we end up with a proper consistency. Now turn your stovetop heat to medium-low, and I like to use a spatula to stir pretty much constantly until the butter is completely melted. I prefer to use a spatula to a whisk just because it makes it easy for me to scrape the sides and bottom of the pan as I go, and this keeps the caramel from burning to the bottom. And once this butter is completely melted, as it is here, we're going to turn the stovetop heat just a little bit above medium, almost to medium-high. Now stir this constantly, make sure you're scraping the bottom of the pan as you go until the mixture comes to a boil. Once this is boiling, you are going to want to set a timer for 2 minutes and stir constantly for those 2 minutes. As soon as those 2 minutes are up, we will take our pan off of the heat and just keep mixing it for about 30 more seconds because the pan is still going to be pretty hot and we don't want anything to burn. Now here we will add our salt. I am using 3/4 teaspoon of finely ground sea salt, and I recommend sea salt just because the flavor is so nice. Now if you don't have sea salt, you can instead substitute a heaping 1/4 teaspoon of regular table salt. Table salt is a lot finer, so you need less. And we'll just stir this together until our mixture is nice and smooth. Let that cool for just a couple minutes, and then we are going to add 1 teaspoon of pure vanilla extract. It might bubble and pop a little bit, so just be careful and just stir until it's nice and smooth and that vanilla extract is well incorporated. The caramel is going to seem pretty thin at this point, but it will thicken as it cools. I like to pour my caramel sauce into heat-proof containers to store it and so that it cools a little bit faster than it would if I left it in the saucepan. I like mine to be a little bit warm when I pour it over my ice cream, but not so warm that it's quite this thin. I recommend letting it cool for at least 30 to 60 minutes before using. So this is still a little bit thinner than I typically like it when I'm serving over ice cream. It's still pretty hot, a little warm on my hands, but I think you guys get the idea. That is how you make homemade salted caramel sauce. I really hope you guys try this recipe out, and please let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.